You swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. You can have a seat.
Have a seat, John.
Yes, you may.
Deputy Collins, would you please state your full name for the court reporter and spell your first name, please?
It is Armani, Armani. Middle name is Dion, Dion. Last name is Collins, Collins.
And how are you employed, Deputy Collins?
The sheriff's office.
Do me a favor and speak up just a little bit more. I want to make sure the judge can hear you, and the court reporter as well. And how long have you been with the sheriff's department?
A little over 4 years.
And prior to the sheriff's department, where did you work?
Lamar University.
And you are a certified police officer, correct?
Yes.
And your duties as a deputy, what do they include?
Take calls for service, assist other agencies, work for X.
So as part of your training, you're taught that there are certain driving behaviors that might indicate that a driver is impaired, correct?
Yes, sir.
And NHTSA refers to those as driving clues. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And there's about 20 of them. Give or take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you didn't see him swerving,
No, sir.
straddling.
At that point, I'm just trying to catch up to the car.
Okay. And so we can agree that speeding is normal behavior, correct? I'll phrase it another way. Non-intoxicated people speed every day.
Of course, yes.
Okay. And they're given speeding tickets, correct?
Possible.
Okay. So you would agree that up to this point, his driving gave you no indication that he was possibly impaired.
Other than speeding at a high rate of speed.
Speeding.
The only time I would say that is when somebody's obviously speeding above the speed limit.
And so then his reaction to your squad lights, you're taught to pay attention how quickly people pull over,
Yes, sir.
how quickly they use their brakes.
Yes, sir.
Did he pull over in a safe manner?
Yes, sir.
He pulled over in a safe place.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So his reaction to your lights coming on, would you say that was normal?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So his driving was normal up to that point. Set aside the speeding.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So essentially you saw no vehicle in motion clues prior to pulling him over, just speeding, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you made initial contact, you stated that he had an unsteady balance. Was this when he got out of the car initially? Was this when he was walking towards the back of walking towards your car, your squad car?
He started underneath the drill. He's out of the car. He kind of walks towards me. So at that point, yes, sir.
Okay.
The rest of the time he's walking out of the car, I kind of got him on my hand. So
Back to your car at this point?
no, I said when he got out of the car.
Got out of the car.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's in a truck, like an F-150.
Okay.
It's high up. Would you agree?
Is that it was like the regular height of the truck? It's not lit there.
Okay, it's not like a sure, but it's definitely higher than a sedan.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Remy's not above 6 foot. You say that he's average height.
Yes, sir.
So he jumped out of the car. Did you notice that?
Not necessarily. He's not. It wasn't at a haste or anything.
But wouldn't jumping out of a car, cause someone to bend their knees a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. In your report, you mentioned that, well, we'll back up. You mentioned also that there was an empty 6-pack of Modelo beer in the back car, correct?
The box of the
The box, yeah.
is
That's trash, right?
true.
People have trash in their car.
No.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. You've never met Mr. Remy prior to this traffic stop before?
No,
right?
sir.
Okay, so you don't know how he normally talks?
No, sir.
Okay, so you don't know how he normally sounds or whether his eyes are normally discolored?
No, sir.
Okay. You mentioned that he had extremely glassy eyes. There are other reasons why someone would have glassy eyes, correct?
Sure.
Cigarette smoke,
Yes.
crying possibly.
Yes, sir. He
Okay.
wasn't crying though.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
but you would be able to determine,
Yes, sir.
okay. You don't know when he last slept?
No, sir.
Okay. And when you got to, oh, we'll back up to odor of alcohol. It's not illegal to drink alcohol and then get in the car, correct?
No, sir.
It's only illegal if they've lost their physical and mental faculties, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the odor of alcohol doesn't tell you how much someone's had to drink, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. On this day, was Christmas Day, were you FST certified?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what type of courses do you have to take to become FST certified?
The basic one.
What are they?
What do you mean? It's the
There's two courses, right? Isn't there a 24-hour course?
It's the one I took in the police academy.
Okay, that was the only one you've taken?
Yes, sir.
You didn't take like a practitioner's update?
It was a sort of refresher course 2 years prior.
Okay. Because of your training, you're aware that there are many different kinds of nystagmus, correct?
Yes, sir.
And environmental factors could affect nystagmus,
Yes, sir.
flashlights. So when you did the HGN, the walk and turn, and one leg stand, you tallied up these clues. Now, a clue on these tests is not proof of intoxication, right?
Not each one in themselves, it's the totality.
So it's simply an observation that may indicate impairment, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're trained that sober people can still show clues, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you aware of the research that indicates that people below 0.08 can still show 4 to 6 clues in the HGN test?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're aware that false positives exist in this field sobriety tests?
It's possible.
Okay. So you could still be under the legal limit and fail this test in the state of Texas, correct?
Possibly. Yes, sir.
Okay. Your training requires a dry, level, non-slipping surface for the walk and turn test, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there's supposed to be a line for them to walk on?
There doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so in that situation, you just tell them to imagine a straight line?
Imagine it. We usually tell them imagine from the license plate of our patrol car shooting out straight.
You would agree that this test is essentially like walking like a ballerina, correct?
I don't know about it.
You know, I would object to the mischaracterization.
I'll rephrase.
Go ahead.
This test is like walking on a balance beam, correct?
Sure,
Okay. So not everyone is good walking on a balance beam.
sure.
When you're giving these instructions and having them stand in an unusual manner, what are they not supposed to do?
Not lose balance, not step off, depending on what test it is, etc.
Okay. So if they break their feet apart and stands back in a natural stance, that's considered a clue.
Yes, sir.
And that beginning, I guess, stance, would you agree that's not a natural stance for someone to stand?
No, sir.
Okay. So if someone was driving down the street, and they saw someone with their feet in front of a truck and their arms at their side, that would cause someone to probably do a second look, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you told them that keep your hands down by your side. Isn't it true that you can still allow about half an inch to raise their arms? Because they're not technically required to touch their legs, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. And so that would at least allow them to have better balance. Would you agree with that?
Possible.
Okay. And this turn, so one of the clues was an improper turn. So when they walk down at the end of the line and do that turn, people don't turn like that in real life, correct?
I don't know. They do. I don't know what they do.
Okay. Do you mind demonstrating for the judge the steps in the instruction phase or the walking phase?
Sure.
I'm gonna come down to the wall.
Walk turn it is. We found out well it's not. We put small steps. And 1, 2, so it's about. Okay.
And so that turn.
That turn
Oh.
into certain small steps.
Okay.
And not.
So the next test, one-legged stand. This requires a person to stand on one foot for 30 seconds, right?
This,
So not everyone is good naturally standing on 1 foot for 30 seconds.
maybe,
Maybe not.
I mean, it depends on how good their balance is.
Okay. Physical injuries can also affect balance, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you ask him if he had any physical injuries that day?
I do not remember whether or not it did.
How much sway does it take to be a clue on the one-legged stand?
Significant swing.
Significant. So not it's sort of subjective, right?
Depends. Okay. I'm just.
And so his clues on the one-legged stand was 3 out of 4. When you're counting, when you are asking him to stand on 1 foot, is it difficult if he is wearing, I guess, Crocs per se, standing on 1 foot?
It could be.
Okay. And then I want to go back to the HGN briefly. What is the procedure on doing the HGN?
The steps.
Yes, the steps.
You first look for equal tracking, equal pupil size, and then you go. So you're doing that first, and then you do, or seems to sustain it. Well, it is. You want me to like explain each thing?
No, I'll move on. Thank
Okay.
you though. And so when you're putting the pen in front of their face, it's supposed to be 12 to 15 inches from their face.
That's right. Use my finger. I use a pen.
What'd you say?
I couldn't hear you.
Use the tip of my finger, not a pen.
Okay.
And when someone's on the side of the road and there's flashing lights going down the street, would that affect their nystagmus to involuntary jerk?
We turn the front lights off.
Yes.
It's not affected.
But go ahead.
No, sorry.
No, you're good. So the vehicles that were traveling by, on the street behind them, that couldn't that affect their eyes to involuntary jerk?
The people driving?
Yes, in the lights, the squad lights that
Possibly.
were okay. And when you tallied up all the clues in all these 3 tests, and you determined that he had lost his mental and physical faculties, by that point, you had asked for a voluntary specimen, and why couldn't he have gotten a breath test that day?
We were choosing to request blood.
Okay.
Neither I nor Deputy Armani was 81 certified, which is breathalyzer.
You
Or
were,
we were not
Okay.
intoxicated certified at that
Okay.
point.
and by that point, after he was when you put him in handcuffs and he was walking to your car, you didn't notice any unsteady balance by that point?
That's
Okay, you didn't seem more intoxicated by that point?
that's
Okay. I have no more questions.
All right, thank you, sir. Anything else, Mr. Coleman?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Deputy. Mr. Coleman, any other witnesses?
No further witnesses, Your Honor, state race.
Thank you. Mr. Comerford, do you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then, obviously, the motion and the response have probably what your arguments are, but if you want to make very brief arguments with regard to the testimony, I'll allow you to do so, Mr. Coleman.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'll just hit the high points of my brief, just essentially, with regard to whether or not there was any reasonable suspicion or probable cause for the stop. You've heard the testimony, you've seen the evidence. Judge, the authority I cite in my brief allows for tips to form the basis for reasonable suspicion, and those tips to law enforcement are particularly trustworthy if the caller or tipster is identifiable. And in this case, she was identified on the front end and identified on the back end when she came to pick up the vehicle. Even if the court does not find reasonable suspicion, there's also the community caretaking function that law enforcement performs, and particularly when there's the potential to involve the safety of one of those passengers, particularly in this case, the 9-month-old. They don't need reasonable suspicion or probable cause to make a stop if they're performing a community caretaking function, Your Honor. With regard to the next point, whether or not there was an illegal custodial interrogation throughout up until the point of the arrest, this was a detention, investigatory detention. Those questions that were asked of this defendant that he answered were all investigatory and not in interrogation or post-custodial interrogation, for which Miranda warnings would be necessary. The next point about the blood specimen of the defendant being seized without consent, I think that the testimony is in direct contravention to that point, in that the defendant, while he may have equivocated on the side of the road, when he got back to the jail, he did in fact sign the consent form. On the next point, whether or not the methodology and the administration of the SFSTs are reliable or valid, I don't know. First of all, that's not a question, I believe, that is a pretrial suppression question for this court. I think if there's an issue with that, that's a trial issue, a fact issue to put before a jury for them to make. But nevertheless, you've heard the testimony about the validity and the reliability of the SFSTs, and the court's free to take that into consideration. And lastly, whether or not the scientific technique as applied, or the theory of the blood test is reliable or valid. Same argument, Judge. The defense counsel is free to bring experts. I don't know that that's a pretrial suppression issue. If what he wants to do is attack the forensic analysis, the forensic chemist at trial, as it relates to the underlying science, and he's free to do that. If he wants to attack the officer about the maintenance, the storage, or the nurse for that matter, with regard to the collection, and put the collection of a specimen, and put the weight of that evidence in question in front of the jury, then he's free to do so. Again, I don't think that's a pretrial issue for this court to resolve. Based on those reasons, Judge, I'd ask the court deny the motion to suppress, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Mr. Comerford.
Judge, our objection is going to be under Article 1, Section 9 of the Texas Constitution and the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution. First, Judge, there was no reasonable suspicion for this truck stop. Deputy Collins gave a conclusory statement and did not provide sufficient facts to articulate more information regarding his high rate of speed. There was no radar device. There was no any other radar evidence to determine how fast he was going. And his performance, well, back up, his demeanors and his language and his observations and performance on these field sobriety tests, Judge, he did not have an unsteady balance. At no point did he fall over, did he stumble. At no point did he have a slurred speech. Mr. Remy was polite the entire time. He completed these field sobriety tests. He looked like he passed. I didn't see a fall off the line. They said that he included 3 out of the 8 clues. He scored 3 out of 8 on the walk and turn. And Judge, his performance on the field, on the walk and turn specifically, did not indicate that he had failed that specific test. And the one-legged stand, Judge, we really couldn't see that from the body camera footage. But again, there was no sway. He didn't really fall over at all. And then the HGN, Judge, is people who test for 4 clues still do not show signs of impairment. There are false positives in this study. And just because someone scored 4 clues does not necessarily indicate someone is impaired above 0.08. Judge, just based off the totalities of the circumstances as well, we believe that there was no probable cause for Ryan Remy to be arrested, and therefore we're asking you to grant this suppression motion.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to, I can go down the list a little bit, with regard to, whether or not I feel like there was a probable cause or reasonable suspicion for the stop itself. I think really there are 2. I think the welfare check or welfare part of this, based on the information that was provided by the caller, leads to an appropriate reason to have pulled over Mr. Ramey, in addition to the officers, through his experience, the speeding, that one obviously, without him being able to he didn't use the radar and didn't really track him with it. But I think if you set out on that road, like he says he did for some amount of time, he had a good idea that was also an issue. I think the combination of either of those, either alone or together, obviously, I think gives probable cause for him to be pulled over. And then once he's pulled over, I think most of the rest of this is really question for the jury, on whether or not how he performed. I don't think that goes into the suppression issue. I think those are trial issues. The blood evidence is a trial issue as well. And so with regard to the consent, it's been admitted. Mr. Remy's signature is on it. And so I believe that also goes to the suppression issue potentially, with regard to the fact that he did consent for his blood to be taken. If there's more issues with regard to that, obviously that is another trial issue. I'm going to deny the motion to suppress at this time. And so we'll get it set back on an announcement, and then you guys can visit and we'll see where we get at that point. All right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Judge.